So as it turns out, this is my second time doing this. Apparently my computer always loves to give me technical issues at night. Tonight we're going to talk about change and how people and situations can change who you are. And there's a lot of things that can change who you are, but one thing change doesn't affect is the way people deal with it. Humans naturally are not good with change. We're not good with coming home and realizing that I don't live with my parents anymore. Crap. I have to do this by myself now. Crap. My car does not handle things like it used to. Crap. I have no friends anymore. Crap. He or she broke up with me. Oh, crap. The human mind is just such a weird thing, and we all think we can deal with change, but we can't. At least not at first. There are several ways you can deal with it. You can be the guy who says that everything's fine, and then a couple months later crashes and burns and is crying in the bathroom in the shower every night in private. You could be the person who really, really hates change and does everything they possibly can to try and get things to stay the same, and once they realize that's the worst thing ever, then they change. However you deal with change, you have to realize in your life that change is going to be a part of it. Things are going to change. People are going to change. You're going to change. I'm going to change. Everything's going to be different. And it's scary to think that, but it's true. Just think right now. Take whatever age you are, 19, 23, 27, whatever, however old you are. Think about 5 years from now. First of all, you're going to be 5 years older, and everybody you know is going to be 5 years older. Huge change, okay? Your body, if you're 75, might not be the same when you're 80. Your kid's going to grow up. Your kid's going to be 12. Your kid's going to be 6. Your kid's going to be whatever. Everything's going to be different. And you got to learn how to deal with it, and you got to learn how to deal with the situations that cause change. So what causes change? Let's start with the obvious things. Work causes change. You get a new job, suddenly everything about you changes. You start making some more money, start upgrading some things, right? Get a new car, you get new furniture, a new TV, a new game system, whatever it is, you start upgrading, right? And that's pretty awesome, right? And then you start to realize things are changing, I didn't used to be this guy who worked all the time and was super stressed out and, freaks out about if my next check doesn't come in, how am I going to afford this car? And you got to realize that change happened, man, and you got to deal with it. School. For many people out there, tomorrow is the first day of the next semester in college. To all my non-college friends, you're one step closer to that. But tomorrow, I could go to class and meet someone who's going to change my life. I can meet my new best friend. I can meet the next girl I'm going to date. Whatever it is, man. It happens. You could meet that person. School can cause you to think, what if I don't really want to do this? What if I don't really want to be a teacher? Or what if I really, really don't want to be a nurse? You could realize that in an instant, and then you have to deal with that change in your life. Another thing that changes people is death. And death is a big one. You lose somebody who you're close to, then you gotta live your life knowing that they're not there. They'll never be a phone call away. It's not like breaking up with somebody. You can't just call them and have an awkward conversation for a few minutes to realize they're still around and then just hang up. The phone got hung up and buried in the ground. And everybody deals with death, and everybody does that in their own way. But when people die, you really start to evaluate who you are. You start to think, man, would this person approve of the way that I'm doing this, or would this person want me to do this? That's really tough to deal with. And the way I dealt with that is just to be like, this person will want me to live my life, make my mistakes, and just play the game how I want to play it. And if it doesn't work out, then you live and you learn, right? So, death is something that can change somebody in a major way. Just for the short-term depression to the long-term realizing that, man, that person you loved isn't here anymore. For some people, you don't even have to know that person. When Stuart Scott died, I was kind of bummed out. I never met the guy. I never even knew anything about him, except for like 2 years ago when I learned about, when I started really getting into sports and really like watching everything. And when Stuart Scott died, and I thought, man, the world lost an actual great guy today. And I felt that same way when my grandpa died, and the only difference between the two of them is that I never knew Stuart Scott. That's the only difference. So, death can change people. Other people can change you, man. I'm going to give 3 examples. A random person, a friend, and a girl. Go figure. I met a random person at Walgreens, which is where I work, one night. This guy was from Harlem, New York. Currently lives there. Just visiting Rochester for the time being on business or whatever. But he was from Africa, right? So that's pretty cool. So the guy comes up to me and he's wearing I forget what it was, maybe like some kind of New York Nets tie or Brooklyn Nets tie or something like that. I was like, oh, you like the Nets? And we started talking about how their season was going at the time, which was pretty well. They made it to the playoffs last year. We were talking about that, and he said, yeah, it's crazy, though, being from Harlem and seeing like all the people, in New York City who really just don't respect certain areas of the city because they're racially divided. And he goes, and it sucks that the city has to be racially divided. And we talked about race and division and things like that for quite some time. And then the guy said, it was really great talking to you. I haven't met anybody from here who's, really had a good conversation like that with me. Thank you. And he stuck out his hand and he shook my hand. And I'll never forget that. Because, it was just really cool of somebody to do. You never expect for some random person like that to just shake your hand and, really kind of make that impression on your life. And it really made me think about the issues that we talked about and, how we're living right now may not be the best. And it really made me think about that, and I'm really glad I met that guy. The other person are my friends. I have several good friends who I hang out with on a consistent basis. Those guys they're like brothers to me, man. If I didn't have the brother that I actually did have, I'd probably really consider wanting one of those guys to be one of my brothers. But they are. Even though we're not related, they are. Well, I'm related to my cousin Colton. And, we hang out all the time, we're cool. And, without those guys, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have, last year I was kind of just this timid person who's not, really into breaking out and talking about things, and this whole thing never would have happened. I never would be posting these videos to Facebook for everybody that I know to watch them. But I'm glad I am, and I owe it to those guys. And then there's the people in your life who you date. men or women, whatever you're into, I don't care. You know, they teach you things. My last relationship taught me that you really can't just dream. You have to make things happen. Things have to fall in line in order for things to work out. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter the way you think about things, the way you hope for things. None of that shit matters if things don't work out for you. Things sometimes just have to work out for you. And it's true, you know. And if you're not willing to work for those things to work out for you, then it's not going to happen. Nothing in your life is going to happen unless you work for it. Dreaming isn't enough. And I'm sorry if that person is watching this video. That's just kind of what I took away from that. And I also learned a little bit about the type of girl I like to date. She was that person, but we were very different people, and I think that we both realized that, and I'm glad that what's done is done. But recently I've learned to come out of my shell. I've learned that you don't just make things happen, things have to fall in place as well. But I'll give you an example of me realizing the kind of person I am inside. So the other day I was with my friends at the mall, and I saw this girl working there who I kind of liked. So I went over to talk to her, we had a nice conversation, and at the end of it I didn't ask her for her phone number. I told her that she was very pretty, and I walked away. That wasn't me punking out by not asking her. I do that all the time, and it works. Just saying. It does work. That wasn't me punking out. That was me realizing that the person I am is not the person she is. And it wasn't going to happen. You know, mid-conversation with that girl, I realized, this is not the girl for you, dude. Things aren't going to work out well for you. Maybe you guys will start talking, she'll lose interest, and you'll wonder, why didn't she text me back? Or maybe the opposite will happen. I've been on both ends of that coin, and both ends are not fun. But I realized as a person that this was not a good idea for me. And you really come to that point in your life where things happen to you, and you realize, this is not who I am. I don't want this to happen to me again. And you do things, and you realize, this isn't going to work out. I thought it was, but I'm not that person. It's not going to work out. Oh well, moving on. And that's how you guys should always live your life, and embrace change. That's how I do it. Change happens. There's nothing you can do about it. Things are always going to change. You're never going to be the same person you were last year again this year, unless you try really hard to stay that person and you try to keep it all together and change is just exploding all around you. You can't do it. You're going to crash and burn. And while you're on the side of the road in the ditch and maybe somebody's helping pull you out of that ditch, maybe you're pulling yourself out, just take a while and look around, because the road's going to be different. The cars on the road are not going to be the same cars when you had that accident. Everybody changes, even if it's just a little bit. So what you need to do in your life to be happy is learn how to deal with change, or start cutting out the people who you don't like the way they've changed. But before you throw your past away, realize, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one who needs to change and look at things differently. That's what I've done recently. And I hope you guys do it too. I'm sorry that these videos are long. I just feel like talking, so I'm going to talk as long as I need to. And I'm sorry they're kind of sporadic. They happen when I get inspired. As I said in the beginning of the video, this is my second take doing this. I think it was actually better than the first one. You know, sometimes late at night, around this hour, I get inspired to do one of these videos, and I do one. I'm really glad that people are still watching these, and I hope that they're making you guys better people. And I hope that you're at least considering some of the things I say. And thanks a lot. Alright.